Most of us have probably experienced giving a speech at some point or another, and whether it was to inform, persuade, or entertain our audience, we know that appealing to our audience can be difficult, especially if your audience is a classroom comprised of all different kinds of people. However, if you know the right tools to use, then appealing to your audience won't be as difficult. Thanks to the great philosopher Aristotle, we can use three main appeals on our audience, and these appeals are ethos, logos, and pathos, and if they are used effectively, then you will have succeeded in appealing to your audience. For example, let's just say you were giving a speech about how bottled water is detrimental to the environment, and you were trying to convince your audience to lessen or stop using bottled water. The first appeal you should try to develop on your audience is ethos. Ethos is a great appeal to start with because it's how well you convince your audience that you are competent in speaking about the effects bottled water has on the environment. Ethos begins the moment you walk up to speak because your audience is going to determine your credibility just by the way you carry yourself and by what you're wearing. If you walk up wearing saggy sweatpants and a t-shirt, then most likely the audience will judge you as someone who doesn't care about the topic you are talking about. You want to project yourself in an honest light by having some sort of connection to your topic, because if you appear that you are not connected and or knowledgeable about bottled water, then the audience will probably not be persuaded by you to stop using them. The second appeal you should try to use to appeal to your audience is pathos, which is appealing to the audience's emotions and values. You can use this appeal to evoke emotion in the minds of your audience. For instance, you want to use an emotional example on your audience, such as, Americans use enough bottled water in 1 week to circle the globe 5 times. Or that most of the bottled water that is supposed to be recycled gets dumped in India's backyard because bottled water can't be recycled. These examples would most likely elicit an emotion of anger or worry in your audience about their own personal bottled water use. Also, if the audience valued the safety of their own environment, then the idea of polluting it with bottled water would help your appeal in trying to convince them to stop using bottled water. The third appeal you need to use to appeal to your audience is logos, and logos is using good logical arguments or reasoning. You want to convince your audience to stop using bottled water in a logical way by using logical statistics, reasoning, and facts. Having a good amount of research and statistics on the topic of bottled water will enhance your credibility because the audience will perceive you as well prepared and knowledgeable on the topic. For example, you would want to use a statistic like 1/3 of all bottled water in the world actually comes from tap water, and buying bottled water actually costs 2,000 times more than using tap water. So when you buy bottled water, you're basically throwing your money down the drain. This example of reasoning is logical because it's informing the audience using a specific fact about bottled water and how it's more costly for the environment and wasteful for the audience's wallet. However, be careful with logos because using a combination of different types of facts or reasoning can and may be confusing to your audience, and you do not want your audience to be confused. And so, when you're trying to appeal to your audience, there are 3 main appeals you should use, and they are ethos, which is your competence and credibility, pathos, which is appealing to your audience's emotion, and logos, which is using logical arguments and reasoning to support your argument. If you use all of these appeals effectively, then you will succeed in appealing to your audience.